the intro still gives me chills. Pokemon Legends Z-A has been out for 3 weeks since recording this. And in these 21 days, there have been 9 updates to the speedrunning route. It feels like this route is developing so fast, and the speedrunners who are at the top end are so sharp and so good at this game, kind of blows my mind. How fast do you think speedruns are right now? On the first day, it was about 8 to 8.5 hours. Since then, we've knocked that down by about 90 minutes. I'm gonna be honest, it's been hard to keep up with all of the changes and all of the innovations that the speedrun route has incorporated in these first 3 weeks since the game came out. So this video is going to be more about the innovations of the Pokemon Legends Z-A speedrun in this infant stage. What is considered, what Pokemon are tested, and how the strategies themselves evolve. Now we need the right mon for the job. Finding a speedrunning main is probably the most important thing when it comes to Pokemon speedrunning. Who is the singular or maybe 1 or 2 Pokemon that are going to be the best at beating the game as fast as possible? Sometimes it's the starter. Other times we take bigger detours just to find that right mon or maybe that right item to help us get over the top. Legends Z-A for now has one clear answer. And even casual players probably know who we're talking about and how powerful this Pokemon is. It's Heracross. Bois the Heracross, my beloved. This is actually a required trade as a part of the main story. Yes, it is technically a side quest, but Emma's main quest says we need to accomplish these 3 side quests. So we actually have to do this Pikachu for Heracross trade. So it gets that boosted traded EXP. It's a pretty good typing, it's bug fighting. I know it's not the flying fighting that we were all hoping for. Sorry, Hawlucha. But we do get access to Aerial Ace. So between Brick Break and Aerial Ace and Mega Horn, our coverage is looking pretty good. This Heracross also has the same stats every single time, no matter what playthrough. Your Bois the Heracross also has these stats. It's a plus attack nature. I believe it's Brave, which would be plus attack minus speed. And it does come with 31 IV in attack. So quite literally, this Heracross has the maximum possible attack stat. And don't forget that Heracross's attack stat is great to begin with. Heracross is a fully evolved Pokemon, not unlike Flamigo, where we get those fully evolved stats even in the early game. At a base 125 attack, that's already pretty good to begin with. And when you Mega Evolve it, it rises to 185, which, funny enough, is the second highest attack stat in all of Pokemon, behind only Mega Mewtwo X. And Mewtwo X isn't even in this game, so Mega Heracross has the highest attack stat in all of Z-A. Now we do get a nice assist from the Absol we're gifted. This actually helps with all the ghost types that we're going to encounter. The Mega Bayonet, the Mega Froslass, and against Gwyn's ghost types. But this isn't going to solve all of our problems. Fairy and flying is still going to be an issue for Heracross. Fairy is challenging defensively. Every single Florges we see in the run is totally annoying. And flying is terrifying offensively due to the 4x weakness. Some examples would include Corbo's Gyarados, which has Bounce, and Lebane's Noivern, which has Hurricane. But turns out the biggest issues and problems to overcome in this speedrun are the Mega Altaria and the Mega Dragonite. So how do we solve that? That's the question speedrunners are trying to answer. And that's why our route has so many variations in this first 3 weeks of the speedrun. So let's cover the Mega Altaria and Dragonite problem. The first iterations of the run quite literally just brute forced the Heracross against them. Of course, Heracross is 4 times weak to Dragonite's flying moves, especially that Hurricane attack, and Altaria flies and makes it very difficult to hit for Pokemon that can't also fly. Now, Heracross can fly, but Mega Heracross cannot. So our first idea was to find something that can fly or hit ranged attacks and get super effective damage down, particularly against dragon types. One of the first considerations beyond the Heracross itself was Florges. Florges is a fairy type, and we can catch a Flabébé as early as Zone 2. It has access to Moonblast, which is a ranged attack. It's also super safe to use against Altaria, which has mostly dragon type moves, so it basically can't even touch the Florges. The bigger problem though is that Florges does not have a Mega Evolution, and you have to manually input your plus moves in order to get effective damage dealt to the Altaria. That's not a very efficient way to do that battle, so even though it is super safe, it just wasn't very fast. The next consideration for that fight was Beedrill, and it looked very promising for a while. It's a poison type, so it's strong against fairies, and it's found in many areas, including the Weedle in Zone 1, and there's a bunch of Kakunas on trees in Zone 2, and just several trees throughout the city. The update for Beedrill is that we get access to its Mega Stone by defeating the Rogue. So Beedrill can fly, it has a strong poison type move, and we can Mega Evolve it. It definitely was better than the Florges. The problem this time is that we can't use the Beedrill against the Dragonite, so it didn't solve that issue at all. So the fourth Pokemon we tried was Froslass. This was the one I was most personally excited about. Froslass is an ice type, so it's great against both dragon types, Altaria and Dragonite. And like Beedrill, we get its Mega Stone for free, we just have to make sure we fight the Rogue Froslass before the Rogue Altaria in that same trio. So why did this not become the main strat? Well, it's okay against Altaria, but Dragonite? Help! Someone help me! I'm dying! Yeah, even at 4 times effective, you can see how well that's going. Dragonite still just overpowers Froslass. So now we've come to a strat that so far has stuck, and in my opinion, might be one of the most ingenious innovations in all of Pokemon speedrunning. May I present to you Phantump. It's not the Pokemon itself, but its signature move, Forest's Curse. Forest Curse adds the Grass type to a target, which is indeed a curse at its 5 weaknesses. So this actually helps both Frostlass's ice moves and Heracross's bug moves gain 2 times damage, which is very useful against multiple rogues. And yes, this actually turns Dragonite into 8 times ice weakness, but
I'm telling you, T-How would have lost it.
Yeah, that still didn't work. But remember, this is helping not just Froslass and Altaria and Dragonite, it's actually just helping Heracross. And we're not done yet. One of the latest route updates that came down the pipe a couple days ago is Screech. Screech is a defense dropping move. Usually it's 2 stages in the mainline games, but there's only 1 stage of effectiveness in Legends games. So instead, Screech just lasts twice as long as it normally does. The key here is that if you stack multiple Screeches together, it actually increases the duration of the effect. Screech is a move that Totodile learns naturally. We can also teach it to a Spinnerack that will run past in Wild Zone 4. So we use this debuff against multiple rogues before switching to mainly Heracross or other ace Pokemon to deal the effective damage. And what makes Screech extra effective is that it can work in combination with Forest Curse. So what you'll see us do is lead Phantump and use Forest Curse, switch to Totodile and Screech at least twice, and then go into Heracross, Mega Evolve, and pummel those rogues to the ground. So with Forest Curse and Screech as available strats, it's back to old reliable Heracross. With these 2 debuffs in our back pocket, Heracross can now effectively damage Altaria and Dragonite. And it was the most powerful attacker to begin with. So with Forest Curse, our bug and flying type moves are doing 2 times as much damage. And with Screech on top of that, we actually add another 33% damage. So here's the strategy. For Altaria, yes, it's flying up in the sky, but its tail hangs down towards the ground. And that's where the hitbox is. So you just have to make sure to line up Heracross's attacks so that way it hits the tail, and that way you can do the damage without having to need a flying Pokemon for Altaria. And as for Dragonite, the safe thing to do is you can recall Heracross when the Hurricane attacks comes out, but honestly, between Forest Curse and Screech, you might not even get there and be able to defeat Dragonite super fast. So that's how Bois is dominating the speedrun. I know his name is supposed to be Bois. But as a millennial, I've been saying Bois and spelling it that way for far too long to not call him Bois. But that's the innovations in the speedrun that have developed seemingly every other day in the first 3 weeks since Legends ZA came out, and I'm sure there will be more innovations and more strategies and more ideas in the coming weeks and months, possibly even years from now. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe for more speedrunning content, and if you'd like to see me do some speedruns live, you can always follow my Twitch page at tpat_wx.